Hey guys, welcome to this conversation of an aviation incident which took place recently in Karachi, Pakistan. Um, my name is Debargya, and
I'm Sid.
today we will discuss or analyze this incident. So, Sid, what's the purpose of this?
Aviation industry is a very complicated industry, and because of this complexity, people usually stay away from it. People don't dive deep into it and understand what exactly is happening. So, one of the motives for us for this video was that we want to break this entire incident into simpler terms.
Okay, so without any further ado, let's get to the point.
Sounds great.
Karachi, Pakistan, 22nd May 2020. Before that, let's go back 10 years. 22nd May 2010, an Air India Express flight 812 doing a routine Dubai-Mangalore overshot the runway at Mangalore and crashed into the hills, killing all the passengers on board. So we do have a connection of the date here. The aircraft in question here is an Airbus A320, and let me show you something. Yeah. So the Airbus A320, why is it important? Why is this relevant to all of us? The Airbus A320 family of aircrafts is the second most widely used aircraft in the world after the Boeing 737 family of aircrafts. Just to talk about the A320 family, there are two types of configurations available. One is the CEO or the current engine option configuration, and the second would be the NEO or NEO or the new engine option configuration.
I would like to add just a point here. Essentially, the difference between CEO engines and NEO engines is that the NEO engines are more efficient and they have a far lesser carbon footprint compared to their CEO counterparts.
Why is this relevant to us? Because any of you doing a short haul flight in the near future, you could well be on an Airbus A320. So, Sid, what do you have about the aircraft that actually crashed in Pakistan?
Definitely. So it was an Airbus A320-214 CEO engine variant, and its call sign was PK8303. The age of the aircraft was 15 years, and it was first put in service by China Eastern Airline for a period of about 10 years, starting 2004 to 2014. And in 2014, it was then leased to Pakistan International Airlines. As you will see, one of the most important things about the aircraft is its landing gear. And it's very crucial about this incident as well. So we dug a bit deeper and found out about the service history of its landing gear. And what we found about was that its landing gear was last serviced in 2014, and the next service was pending for 2024. The flight's scheduled route was from Lahore to Karachi, and it's approximately, the duration is 1 hour 40 minutes.
Yeah.
That's about the aircraft.
Now, before we proceed, let me pull up some ATC recordings.
We are comfortable now, and we are out of 3,500 for 3,000. Established island, 25 left. Sir, we are established on island 25 left. You are 5 miles from the ground, it is 30,000.
The flight crew tells the ATC that they have started to descend, and they crossed 3,500 feet and now are heading for 3,000 feet. Right? So they're descending at this point in time. The crew talks about something called ILS, established on ILS 25 left, right? Which is, ILS is basically the instrument landing system. And Sid, can you just throw some light on the ILS?
Yeah, sure. ILS stands for Instrument Landing System. It is a pre-guided, predefined path to guide the aircraft towards a safe landing. Now, since it's predefined, its altitude, path, direction, everything is fixed. So all approaching aircrafts to the runway are supposed to align themselves exactly to the ILS and then proceed with the landing. The altitude is of utmost importance here, because if you are higher than the predefined altitude, you will overshoot the runway. You won't have enough runway to land the aircraft safely. And if your altitude is lower than the predefined one, you will miss the runway. The plane will miss the runway and there won't be a proper safe landing. So that is ILS in short. It is a predefined path for a flight's safe landing.
So basically you're trying to say that a plane coming from any direction could be set up on the runway using the ILS.
Correct. That's right.
Okay. So what do we have so far? The crew said that they are established on the ILS for the runway 25 left, I think. And they were cruising at 3,000. 3,500, and they were cruising for 3,000. They were going to go for 3,000. And interestingly here, the ATC tells the crew that you are too high. You are 5 miles away from touchdown and you're still passing 3,500. Just to put it into perspective, at 5 miles, your ideal height should be 1,500. And the ATC never tells the pilot that you are wrong. The ATC will only remind the pilot that, hey,
right.
There could be something wrong. Please check. Right? So, yeah.
Right.
So that's probably something which the pilots missed. We are not sure. Now, let me play some, show you some graphs. These are interesting. Let's look at this one. This is basically the flight path in terms of altitude, and it reads from left to the right. And if you see, the flight did a regular takeoff. It cruised at its cruising altitude close to 35,000 feet, and it started to descend. And up until this point, it was a pretty regular flight, uneventful. But after this, things started getting worse. And if you see here, this particular point, and let me get a better picture for you. If you look at this one, the zoomed picture of the first graph, there was a touch point. So the plane did touch the ground, and then it started to go around. So go around means, you've missed your approach, or you've not landed properly, and you want to attempt the landing again. And that is further confirmed by this image of the flight, where you can see the engines are scraped. Sid, your thoughts on this, a belly landing?
This is a very interesting image. What we can see from this image is that we can see the engines are badly scraped at the bottom and they are damaged. But the interesting part is the fuselage is pretty intact with almost no damage at all. And that's strange, because usually in a belly landing scenario, fuselage is the first one to get badly affected.
Absolutely. And the next image that I'm going to share will further confirm that the engines had touched the runway first. Look at this image. You can clearly see that the engines have scraped the surface, causing spark, and they've left this residue behind. And what we can make from this is that the left engine may have hit first, because you see the lines are longer here. Then the right engine must have hit, and the plane was unstabilized, after which the pilots decided to go around, right? At this point, the engines were already damaged because they've taken some hit. Here. So
it looks like the entire weight of the aircraft was on its left engine.
Totally. So at this point, initiating a go around, and a go around is when you put full throttle on the engine. So I don't think that was the best thing to do by the pilot. So let me just take you back to the ATC recording and play a short clip from that.
Roger, Pakistan, it's just going around.
Yeah, that was about it. So up till this point, the flight kind of tried to land unsuccessfully, and then
Unsuccessful.
it initiated a go around. Now, what I will do is I'll play the recording, the ATC recording for the go around. I will break down.
Argo, there is this interesting point. Did you see in that image the landing gear was not out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think the landing gear wasn't. How do you say? The landing gear wasn't initiated during the first attempt. It seems it could be probably a technical error, or it could be, I don't know, some other error. But the landing gear didn't seem to be deployed.
So yeah, coming back, let's talk about the go around and let's see what happened during the go around.
So Pakistan 8303, we would like to come again for ILS 25 left. Return left heading 110, plan 3000. 110, plan 3000, Pakistan 8303. 8303, you are dropping altitude 2000. Sir, we have just give me 2000. To maintain 2000. And 8303 approach. Please, sir. Appears to be turning left. While proceeding back, sir, we have lost engine. Confirm you are carrying on belly land. Runway available to land at 25. Roger. Sir, Mayday, Pakistan 8303. Pakistan 8303, Roger, sir, both runways available to land.
Yeah, so that's basically it from the ATC recording point of view. Sid, if you observed, interesting point. The ATC asks the pilot, sir, are you going to carry out belly landing? Which means, in the first instance, the pilot did not inform the ATC about the belly landing, and which is against the protocol, because for a belly landing, the ATC has to prepare the fire trucks and the medical team. Everyone's got to be in position, because as soon as the plane lands, there's got to be a fire. So what we'll do is, Sid, why don't you explain with the help of a diagram and make it as simple as possible?
Sure.
Yeah.
So as you can see from the image here, after the unsuccessful attempt at landing, the crew decided to go for the second attempt. And the ATC instructed, the flight path that ATC instructed was the one in red, all the way to the dotted lines. And then rejoining the ILS, and then reattempting to land again. But what happened was, the flight followed the flight path till this point, as you can see in the representative image, but they were unable to maintain the altitude. ATC instructed them to maintain 3,000 feet, but they were able to maintain 2,000 feet. The crew understood that with failed engines, it's impossible to join the ILS and then continue with the landing. Instead, they took a left turn over here and decided to land the aircraft as safely as possible from this point. And when you hear the pilots tell ATC Mayday, Mayday isn't, they have lost both the engines, the flight is completely out of their control, and the plane was about to crash. And the red zone here is the region near the runway where it crashed, unfortunately.
Yeah. So yeah, that was basically about, how this plane really went down. Obviously, we are not pilots or experts here. We are just aviation enthusiasts. So we are not going to have an opinion on this. We are just going to throw in some possibilities that may have happened. We are not going to blame anybody. We do not know who was responsible for this. And, if the landing gear was a problem, then I'm pretty sure the issue started way back, probably in its, while it was in its cruising altitude or somewhere there, because it's always a chain of events that cause a failure in aviation, right? So
that's right.
So Sid, let's give our thoughts. What do you think about the whole scenario?
What I think is that This has been a very tragic incident, no doubt. Like there are only 2 survivors and the entire passenger and crew, they died in the crash. It's a very unfortunate event. But again, at the same time, I would like to tell our viewers that flying is still the safest mode of transport. And the more we take interest in this industry, the more we are aware about it, the safer flying would be for all of us. So that's the main motive. I think that's the key takeaway, to inform people as much as possible in simpler terms what airplanes are all about.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Argo?
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with your point of view. And just to add, I feel, someone may have heard, and I just hope that the investigating report, rather the investigation report, finds a human party to blame rather than the machine, because this is a machine which is just scattered all over the world. You never know when you will be on this kind of a machine, an A320 family of aircraft.
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
I really hope that there is some party that has erred, and that training and other mechanisms are strengthened. And I sincerely hope that this was the last plane crash, at least in passenger aviation.
Agreed. Because the implications of Airbus 320 family are so wide.
Yeah,
Can
exactly.
you imagine 5,000 aircrafts being grounded if it turns out to be a mechanical failure?
Exactly. And in fact, there is no alternative to the A320 Neo as of now, because people have lost
Agreed.
trust in the Boeing 737 MAX after the 2 crashes. So it'll be very difficult to replace this, or even replace the engines or whatever it is. It's going to take a while. Again, let's not jump to conclusions right now. We do
Agreed.
understand from the ATC recordings that yes, some conversations that should have happened did not happen. Again, we do not know which party to blame. So yeah, my sincere condolences to all the 97 passengers and their families who lost their lives. 2 of them did survive. And yeah, let's wait and watch. I think, Sid, we will make an updated video once the report is
Definitely.
out. That will take a couple of
Definitely.
years, definitely. But yeah, we will make an update to this. And yeah, I think that's all from my side.
And in the meanwhile, if you guys think we should cover some other incident or some aviation event in history, please let us know, and we'll try our best to come up with a video about it as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd be very happy to do that. So please let us know in the comments below if you want us to cover anything. We'd be very happy.
And we are open to all sorts of feedback. So let us know what you think. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.